Welcome, listeners, to the Monthly Show about the scary, the spooky, and the supernatural. Get ready for the latest. That's more.
Welcome back to 13 Pods of Horror, the podcast where we celebrate the icons, the screams, and the glorious gore that makes a genre film unforgettable. This month we have a very special episode because we are throwing an early birthday party for one of the greatest square-jawed, chintastic B-movie legends of all time. The man, the myth, the king, Bruce Campbell. Born June 22nd, 1958, Bruce turns 68 this year. And what better way to honor him than by diving deep into his incredible life, his career, and unbreakable spirit. Whether you know him as Ash Williams, Sam Axe, or the guy who once fought a mummy as Elvis Presley, this episode is pure Hail to the King appreciation. Let's get groovy. Bruce Loren Campbell was born on June 22nd, 1958 in Royal Oak, Michigan. He was the son of Charles Newton Campbell, an advertising executive, college professor, and amateur actor-director in local theater, and Joanne Louise, a homemaker. He has English and Scottish ancestry, along with two other brothers, Don and a half-brother, Michael. Campbell has described his childhood as damn near idyllic, an upper-middle-class environment with woods nearby, no fences or heavy surveillance, allowing kids to roam freely and play make-believe. He enjoyed outdoor activities like hockey, tobogganing, sledding, building tree forts and tunnels, and various team sports. His father, who has suppressed artistic leanings, was especially supportive of Bruce's interest in acting. His father's involvement with community theater sparked Campbell's interest. Around age 14, he began acting on stage, appearing in local productions. One early role was in The King and I. He performed in high school plays and gained hands-on experience during a summer apprenticeship at Cherry County Playhouse in northern Michigan after high school, where he worked intensely, often 18 hours a day, alongside professional TV actors. This real-world exposure later made college theater classes feel inadequate by comparison. Campbell attended Weil E. Groves High School in Brigham, Michigan. There, in drama classes around 1975, he reconnected with, and probably befriended, Sam Raimi after a brief, awkward junior high encounter. Raimi was dressed as Sherlock Holmes, playing with dolls, which Campbell found, quote-unquote, creepy. Campbell was into magic, and Raimi was into magic, and Campbell assisted at some of his shows. He was an okay student, doing well in subjects he liked, but not overexerting himself. Socially, filmmaking largely replaced typical high school dating and prom activities for him and his circle, where they were more interested in movies than girls at the time. After high school, he briefly attended Western Michigan University, known locally as Waste Turn, a party school, for about 6 months, enrolling in liberal arts, theater, and English classes. He found it unfulfilling compared to the practical experience from Super 8 films and summer stock theater. He dropped out to pursue acting and filmmaking full-time, later taking a job as a production assistant. This is where Campbell's story truly takes off. As teenagers, Campbell and Raimi, along with a tight-knit group including Scott Spiegel, Josh Becker, Robert Tappert, Ted Raimi, and others, sometimes calling themselves the Michigan Mafia or Metropolitan Film Group, made dozens of amateur Super 8 short films, often on weekends. Estimates put the total of around 50 or more. They blurred roles. Everyone acted, directed, wrote, produced, and crewed as needed. Whoever bought the film stock often became the producer. Predominantly broad slapstick comedies inspired by the Three Stooges, Marx Brothers, and vaudeville, they also dabbled in murder mysteries, war films, parodies, and occasional dramas, which often failed the party test. Their main audience feedback came from screenings at parties. Effects and production values were rudimentary, but the enthusiasm was high. They screened films for classes and friends at Groves High School. Notable early short examples from their prolific output are Gun Tomorrow from 1976. Bruce starred as the lead in a spy spoof with slapstick gags. 6 Months to Live, directed by Sam Raimi and Spiegel, a comedy with a large cast including many in the group. Within the Woods, 1978, a crucial 30-minute Super 8 horror prototype of The Evil Dead, used to attract investors for a feature. It starred Campbell and helped prove the concept. Others like Attack of the Helping Hand from 1979, The Blind Waiter from 1980, Holding It from 1978, and Cleveland Smith, Bounty Hunter from 1982, an early Raiders parody. Many featured cornball humor, pie fights, chases, and Stooges-style antics. These films were shot on weekends with minimal resources. They built practical skills in filmmaking, acting, and collaboration. Campbell often took lead roles as the one the girls wanted to look at, but lines were blurred. The group work emphasized fun, experimentation, and learning by doing, skills that directly fed into The Evil Dead. Some shorts were later transferred to digital, though music license issues had limited official releases. This period laid the foundation for Campbell's career. The resourceful, DIY ethos, slapstick physical comedy, and long-term friendships, especially with Raimi and Tappert, defined his path into cult cinema and beyond. Raimi had shifted towards horror after researching drive-in films and drawing inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon concept. To attract investors for a feature, the trio, with friends, created the 32-minute Super 8 short film Within the Woods, shot over a weekend for about $1,600 at a Michigan farmhouse. Campbell starred as one of the leads, named Bruce in the short, endured heavy makeup, including sleeping in it for continuity, and helped produce. The story involved demonic possession from disturbing a burial ground, with tree attacks, gore, and possession elements that previewed the feature. It screened before the Rocky Horror Picture Show in Detroit and received positive local feedback, helping raise initial funds, around $9 to start. The feature was initially titled The Book of the Dead before becoming The Evil Dead. Raimi, Campbell, and Tappert formed Renaissance Films and hustled for money from family, friends, doctors, lawyers, and anyone they could find. Campbell even put up family property in northern Michigan as collateral to help secure completion funds. The core team was mostly friends and family from the Michigan Mafia. Campbell served as producer, credited as executive producer, while committing to star as Ash, the only actor willing/able to stay for the entire grueling shoot due to his producing duties. Other cast, such as Ellen Sandwise as Cheryl and Betsy Baker as Linda, came from prior shorts or local casting calls. The special effects by Tom Sullivan, who returned from the short Within the Woods. They scouted locations and settled on a remote Civil War-era cabin near Morristown, Tennessee, chosen partly for milder weather expectations and local film commission help. Michigan itself, the winters made it infeasible. Principal photography was notoriously brutal and lasted roughly 12 weeks, longer than had planned, with much of the shot at night. The crew of 13 lived in the run-down cabin that they had to clean, repair, and power, and build a makeshift cellar. Conditions led to arguments, illness, and extreme discomfort. As the lead, Campbell faced the most physical demands, fighting possessed friends, the iconic hand scene, dismemberments, and enduring cold, sticky fake blood, and long hours. Injuries incurred, including the one to his leg, which Raimi incorporated. Contact lenses for demonic eyes were painful and limited to 15 minutes. The creative low-budget rigs like the shaky cam, where a camera was on a 2x4 board and carried running through the woods, and Vasocam were used for dynamic shots. Campbell participated in these physical, intense scenes. Winter hit hard, one of Tennessee's coldest in decades, freezing roads and forcing equipment hauls on foot. Many crew and actors left early, leading to fake shemps, stand-ins for Three Stooges, which was a Three Stooges reference, and rewrites. Shooting wrapped up in Tennessee around January 1980, with some and reshoots finished in Michigan. Editing and sound work continued back in Michigan. The Coen brothers, early collaborators, even helped with editing. The film had a private premiere screening for friends and family at Detroit's Redford Theater on October 15, 1981. Producer Irving Shapiro saw it and helped get it into the 1982 Cannes Film festival market. Stephen King's enthusiastic review of the most fiercely original movie of the year and the ultimate experience in grueling terror was pivotal. New Line Cinema picked it up for distribution, giving it a wider US release on April 15, 1983, after an initial limited one. It faced censorship issues in some markets, notably in UK, the US Nasties list, but became a massive cult hit, making $2.4 million domestic and $27 million internationally on its tiny budget. This launched the careers of Raimi, Campbell, and Tappert, and spawned the franchise. Campbell's hands-on role as producer, risking personal/family assets, enduring the toughest shoot conditions as the star, and helping drive the DIY ethos, cementing his status as a genre icon in the heart of the Evil Dead series. Immediately after The Evil Dead, released in 1981 and wider in 1983, Bruce Campbell stayed deeply embedded in the low-budget genre and cult films scene while collaborating with his Michigan circle. He balanced acting, producing, and occasional directing, building a reputation as a reliable, charismatic presence in a B-movie and genre pictures. For example, Crime Wave, 1985. One of the first major follow-ups, also known as the XYZ Murders or Broken Hearts and Noses, Campbell co-produced the film and played the supporting role. It was directed by Sam Raimi and written by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan, and intended as a broader mainstream comedy crime hybrid. The production faced significant studio interference and budget issues, leading to a troubled release. It was not a commercial success, but has since gained cult status among fans of the Raimi ecosystem. This project kept Campbell working with his co-collaborators while he transitioned towards Los Angeles. After Crime Wave, Campbell relocated to Los Angeles and carved out a niche in horror, sci-fi, and action B movies, such as Maniac Cop from 1988. Campbell starred as Officer Jack Forrest in this cult slasher film directed by William Lustig and written and produced by Larry Cohen. He reprised the role in Maniac Cop in 1990. The films mix police procedural with horror and became a fan favorite. Moontrap from 1988. The sci-fi action where he plays Ray Tanner. Intruder, 1981. Showdown. The Vampire in Retreat, 1989. A comedic western horror with vampires, featuring Campbell as a notable role alongside genre vets. Mind Warp, 1981, aka Nexus 6. A post-apocalyptic film where Campbell met his second wife, costume designer Ida Garrison. Of course, Campbell would rejoin Raimi and Tappert for the Evil Dead sequels, Evil Dead 1 in 1987 and Army of Darkness in 1992, completing the original trilogy. Conversations about both films could spawn their own full-length episodes. He also made a memorable uncredited cameo as the final sheriff in Raimi's Darkman from 1990, and throughout the 1980s and early 1990s, Campbell embraced the B-movie actor identity, often with self-aware humor. He continued producing and appearing in dozens of genre films while building the foundation for later mainstream television success. Bruce Campbell's television career has been a strong extension of his cult film roots, blending leading roles in quirky high-concept series with memorable recurring and supporting parts, often collaborating with Sam Raimi and Robert Tappert, bringing his signature charm, physical comedy, and deadpan delivery to genre-friendly shows. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., 1993 to 1994. This Fox series, 27 episodes for one season, was Campbell's first major TV lead and one of his most beloved roles. He played Briscoe County Jr., a Harvard-educated lawyer turned bounty hunter in 1893, hunting the outlaw John Bly, who killed his father, for a group of industrialists. The show mixed Western action with sci-fi, steampunk, and comedy elephant. Despite critical praise and a dedicated fan base for its weird Western tone, it was cancelled after one season. It remains a cult favorite and a highlight in his charismatic leading man work. Hercules, Legendary Journeys, and Xena, Warrior Princess, mid to late 1990s. Campbell reunited with Raimi and Tappert, the executive producers, in the syndicated fantasy universe. He first directed episodes of Hercules, starting with Season 1's The Vanishing Dead, before appearing as a recurring character, Autolycus, the suave king of thieves. Autolycus appeared in about 10 episodes of Hercules and 8 of Xena. He was a charming rogue, escape artist, and occasional ally to Hercules, Xena, and Gabrielle. The role played at Campbell's strengths and physical wit and roguish charm. Fans loved his dynamic interactions with the leads. He also ended up directing the Hercules series finale. This period kept him working steadily in action comedy with his core collaborators. Jack of all trades, 2000 to 2001. Campbell starred as the lead of the syndicated action comedy, 22 episodes, 2 seasons. He played Jack Stiles, an American spy and adventurer sent to a fictional East Indies islands in 1801 to thwart French and Napoleonic ambitions. Angela Deutschen co-starred as his British partner, Amelia Rothschild. The show had a steampunk flair, high energy stunts, and tongue-in-cheek humor. Campbell was also a co-executive producer along with Raimi, Tappert, and others. It was cancelled mid-second season, but earned a cult following for its campy adventurous tones and Campbell's energetic performance. Burn Notice, 2007 to 2013. This USA network spy drama, 7 seasons with 111 episodes, marked Campbell's biggest mainstream TV success. He played Sam Axe, a retired Navy SEAL, former FBI agent, and laid-back best friend to burn spy Michael Weston, played by Jeffrey Donovan. Sam provided intelligence, muscle, and comic relief while helping Michael with the off-the-books cases in Miami. Sam became a fan favorite for his charm, beer-drinking habits, and use of the alias Chuck Finley. Campbell starred in a prequel TV movie, Burn Notice, The Fall of Sam Axe, from 2011, which explores the character's backstory, which was directed by Jeffrey Donovan. The role gave him a broad exposure and ran for the full series duration. Ash vs. the Evil Dead, 2015 to 2018. Starz aired this horror comedy sequel series, 3 seasons, 30 episodes, to the Evil Dead films. Campbell reprised his iconic role as Ash Williams, now an aging, reluctant hero working at a supermarket who gets pulled back into fighting the Deadites with new companions Pablo and Kelly. Developed by Sam Raimi, Ivan Raimi, and others, with Campbell, Raimi, and Tappert as executive producers. It mixes the franchise signature gore, slapstick, and one-liners. The show earned strong reviews and a dedicated audience, but was cancelled after season 3. It allowed Campbell to revisit and evolve Ash decades later. Bruce Campbell has primarily built his career in cult cinema, B-movies, and television, but he has appeared in several mainstream or high-profile studio films, often in memorable supporting roles or cameos, frequently thanks to his long collaboration with director Sam Raimi. These appearances help introduce him to wider audiences besides genre fans. Campbell has cameo appearances in most of Sam Raimi's big studio films, such as Spider-Man from 2002, as the ring announcer at the wrestling match where Peter Parker first fights as Spider-Man 2 from 2004. He's the snooty usher who denies Peter entry to Mary Jane's play. Spider-Man 3, 2007, the maitre d' at the fancy restaurant. These small but scene-stealing parts became a beloved running gag for fans. Campbell has joked about them, and there have even been fan theories and comic tie-ins suggesting they might be the same character, or hinting at a larger role, like Mysterio in a potential Spider-Man 4. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 2022. Pizza Papa, a brief but memorable street vendor cameo in the Illuminati universe sequence. Other Raimi films, such as the previously mentioned uncredited Final Shemp in Darkman from 1990, a small role in the Hudsucker Proxy, a 1994 Coen Brothers, but produced with Sam Raimi ties, and a minor part in Oz the Great and Powerful from 2013. Other notable mainstream studio roles, such as Congo from 1985, a featured role in this big-budget Michael Crichton adaptation directed by Frank Marshall. Escape from LA from 1996, where he's the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills in the John Carpenter sequel to Escape from New York. The Majestic from 2001, a supporting role in this Jim Carrey drama directed by Frank Darabont. Serving Sarah from 2002, a comedic full role in this romantic comedy starring Matthew Perry and Elizabeth Hurley. Sky High, 2005, Disney superhero comedy where he portrays Coach Boomer, a gruff PE teacher at the school for superhero kids. McHale's Navy, 1997. Supporting role in the big screen adaptation of the classic TV series. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 2009. A major voice role as Tim Lockhart, Flint's father, the main character. Beyond the Evil Dead franchise and his TV leads, Bruce Campbell has taken on several memorable leading roles in cult comedies and horror comedies that showcase his range, self-awareness, and physical comedy skills. These projects often blend heart and B-movie charm, with Campbell frequently involved behind the camera as well. Bubba Hotep, 2002. This is widely regarded as one of Campbell's finest and most acclaimed leading performances outside of Ash Williams. Campbell stars as Sebastian Haff, an elderly man in a Texas nursing home who claims to be the real Elvis Presley, who faked his death and swapped places with an imposter. He teams up with fellow resident who believes he is John F. Kennedy, played by Ossie Davis, portraying a black man due to a supposed government experiment. The duo must battle a soul-stealing ancient Egyptian mummy terrorizing the nursing home. It's a hilarious yet surprisingly poignant mix of comedy, horror, and drama about aging, regret, and fading fame. Critics and fans praise Campbell's nuanced, funny, and empathetic portrayal of an aging Elvis, complete with perfect vocal mannerisms, karate moves, and a weary rock star swagger. It remains a career highlight and one of the best examples of Campbell's ability to carry a film with charm and depth. The Man with the Screaming Brain from 2005. This was Campbell's feature directorial debut, where he also co-wrote, produced, and starred in the lead role. Campbell plays William Cole, an arrogant American businessman in Bulgaria. After a series of violent events, a mad scientist, played by Stacy Keach, transplants the brain of a murdered Russian taxi driver into his body, creating a split personality hybrid. A wild sci-fi slapstick comedy horror homage to the 1950s B-movie and Roger Corman style exploitation. The film features body-swapping chaos, action, and over-the-top gags, with Ted Raimi also appearing. My Name is Bruce, 2007. Another self-directed and self-starring vehicle that leans heavily into meta-humor. Campbell plays a fictionalized, exaggerated version of himself, a washed-up, egotistical B-movie actor known for horror roles like Ash, who is a drunk dialing ex-wives and coasting on past glory. The residents of a small Oregon town mistake him for his on-screen hero persona and recruit him to battle a real ancient demon that they've unleashed. It's a loving spoof of his own career, low-budget filmmaking, and fan expectations. Bruce Campbell has also written several books, primarily humorous memoirs and self-biographical fictions that reflect his self-deprecating wit, love of B-movies, and cult following. His works have resonated strongly with fans of his genre career, turning him into a successful author in addition to his acting work. If Chins Could Kill, Confessions of a B-Movie Actor, from 20. This is Campbell's breakthrough and best-known book, a New York Times bestseller and major sleeper hit. It's a candid, funny, autobiographical chronicling of his early life in Michigan, the Super 8 Days with Sam Raimi, the grueling making of The Evil Dead, and his adventures in blue-collar Hollywood. It offers behind-the-scenes stories of low-budget filmmaking, practical advice for aspiring actors, and plenty of humorous anecdotes. The book has strong, enduring popularity and helps solidify his image as an accessible, fan-friendly cult icon. Many consider it his signature literary work and a must-read for Evil Dead and Raimi fans. Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way from 2005, a comic novel in which Campbell inserts a fictionalized version of himself as the protagonist. The plot follows a B-movie actor chaotic attempt to break into a big-budget Hollywood film called Let's Make Love, directed by Mike Nichols and starring Richard Gere and Renee Zellweger. It features over-the-top satire of the industry, a B-movie virus, slapstick elements, graphics, and Campbell's signature humor. He also performs the audiobook with a full cast, sound effects, and radio play style. It's entertaining but generally less commercially dominant than his memoirs. Hail to the Chin for the Confessions of a B-Movie Actor from 2019. The sequel to If Chins Could Kill, co-written by Craig Sanborn, it picks up where the first memoirs left off, and was also a New York Times bestseller, debuting at number 8 on the hardcover nonfiction list. It covers later career highlights like Burn Notice, More Evil Dead Adventures, Convention Life, and personal stories. Like the first book, it's raucous, sardonic, and filled with self-aware humor. The Cool Side of My Pillow, a book of essays from 2020, a collection of essays that moves beyond pure showbiz stories. Topics include life observations, experiences outside entertainment, snarky humor, and a call for peace and common sense. It's shorter and more reflective and varied than the memoirs, showing a different side of Campbell while retaining his witty style. Campbell has narrated his own audiobooks, which are highly rated for his engaging delivery. His writing career demonstrates the same resourceful, audience-focused approach that defines his work in film and TV, building a loyal relationship through personality and humor rather than chasing mainstream literary acclaim. And as this podcast comes to the close, we would be remiss not to mention that earlier this year, in March of 2026, Bruce shared that he is battling a form of cancer he describes as treatable, not curable. True to form, he faced it with humor and toughness, saying he's a tough son of a bitch, with great support. He stepped back from some appearances to focus on treatment, but continues promoting projects. Bruce, we're all rooting hard for you. Your resilience is pure Ash energy. Bruce Campbell embodies the spirit of independent filmmaking, loyalty to friends, and never taking yourself too seriously. From Super 8 shorts in Michigan to chainsaws, cameos in blockbusters, best-selling books, and still entertaining fans at 68, he is definitely a cult icon who built a career on charm, grit, and one hell of a chin. So on behalf of 13 Pods of Horror and horror fans everywhere, happy birthday, Bruce. Thank you for the Deadites, the one-liners, the laughs, and the inspiration. Hail to the king, baby. And that's our show. If you love Bruce, go watch any of his spectacular performances, or read his wondrous books, and be sure to share this episode with a fellow fan. We will be back next time with more horror goodness, so stay groovy, stay spooky, and keep those chins up.
Just been listening to 13 Pods of Horror, a Planet Geek production. Please be sure to download, subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can buy us a coffee by going to ko-fi.com/planetgeekpod. On different social medias, you can search for either Planet Geek Productions or Planet Geek Pod. You can also reach out to us via email at planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.